Welcome back to Beards and Brews, everybody. This week's review is going to be Last Action Hero from 1993, a Schwarzenegger picture, of all people. So, fellas, what'd you think?
Let me be the first person to say, this fucking movie.
That actually tickles me because Brady and I, we know that you hate action schlock. But this movie fucking turns it on its head wildly. It's so ridiculous. So the point of this movie is basically a movie in a movie, but that movie in the movie is what we think action schlock is, and it's ridiculous.
This is a movie pretending to be a movie that's another dude. I know that you haven't been a fan of these Schwarzenegger films, these action 80s movies that me and Eric have been real big on pushing on you. But I felt like this would be right up your alley in the sense of there's
We're gonna have a bunch later.
something to discuss, and it's kind of poking at itself.
Mhm.
All the things that you were like, meh, I don't really like this about it. They're even bigger, but they're bigger in a more, I'm making fun of myself way.
Yeah, after watching the whole thing, I feel like my best parallel to this, it doesn't quite go quite as far in the absolute, like, balls out comedy, but my best parallel for this is Blazing Saddles. It does for the action genre what Blazing Saddles does for the Western genre. I didn't really know a whole lot about this movie, but yeah.
That's the perfect summation. Me and Brady had this conversation months and months and months ago before we ever considered it for the podcast. And my argument was this movie was like 3 or 4 years too late. Because by that time, you had like Die Hard and all these like regular
Gritty.
dudes. Yeah, these regular dudes in extraordinary situations because like the fucking muscle super dudes, one-man army fellas of the 80s were farting out by that time.
Yeah. But I grew up with things like The Naked Gun, Airplane, things like that, spoof movies anyways.
Mhm.
And this movie, to me, is fucking top of the crop spoof movie.
The
cream of the
crop.
Rises to the top, yeah. But everything in this film takes everything that you grew up and loved about, an 80s action movie, especially a Schwarzenegger film. There's so many homages to his movies in there, but it takes everything that you know and love and then cranks it to 11 and goes, look at how dumb that is, right? We like this shit though, right? Don't we? And you go, fuck yeah, we do. It's like, all right, cool, man.
I'll take that and I'll say, for someone who is not just like ingrained in the like action motion picture genre, it takes everything that you think is corny and like shitty and annoying about the action genre,
Yeah.
and it cranks its satire level up to 11,
Yeah.
12, 13,
Yes.
and it's like, yeah, look at how dumb that is.
It basically pisses on the naysayers of the genre. Just like, yeah, it's stupid. Whatever. Now it's more stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Now it's stupid for a reason.
Yeah. And I
It's-
can't believe looking at the professional critiques of this movie, like how many people hated this when it came out.
I was looking at reviews. I was looking at like aggregate sites like IMDb or Metacritics. It got pretty like not good reviews. And having just watched it, I don't get it. I don't see how that was a fucking joy to watch.
I think at this time, like people were just like tired of like the one-man army stuff. I think in this period, like people were just shitting on Schwarzenegger just for the fucking sake of it. They were just tired of this fella.
To me, the reason I think this fell through was because it's Schwarzenegger and he has a following, a cult following. People who come to see his movies are looking for one thing. And this movie doesn't give you that. It gives you comedy, it gives you that satire, and Schwarzenegger, fucking shit, does he do a great job at being able to, wear it with a smile.
Man,
But
no, it's even
as an-
further than that. It's even
Yeah.
further than that. Fucking Schwarzenegger does a great job playing what people think of himself, of what he plays in the
Yes.
movies, and
Yes.
also what people think of him as a Hollywood actor in Hollywood later on in the movie. It's so fucking meta. By the end of it, I was just like, fuck, I have like a little extra level of respect for the man, just as an actor.
That's what I took from it too. Yeah, like I see like the scene on the red carpet where you got Maria Shriver who's like,
God.
"Don't like Planet Hollywood. They hate it when you plug the restaurant."
Fucking plug-in so hard, and it's so
Yeah.
good, though.
It's
And-
fucking beautiful.
But as a Schwarzenegger fan, and die-hard action fan, I think people were coming to expect that regular machismo movie. That movie has the machismo, but it's in a satirical way, and I think that probably angered a lot of people because they were looking for that, and he was more like a ha ha ha.
Like, I don't really remember how the trailers were for this movie, because like I remember it existing, and I remember not having any interest in it because it looked kind of like just like a normal ass Arnold action movie. Like, I didn't care about that, but I wish I'd known what this movie was back in the day, because I would have fucking loved it.
I don't know, off the top of my head, I feel like, not having seen the trailer for this movie or anything, I feel like they might have played it as like Home Alone just with Schwarzenegger.
Oh, really?
You know, like, oh, he's got that kid buddy sidekick. Oh, he's so wacky. You know, whatever.
Yeah, and people were probably like, I ain't watching that shit because, man. But had they just given it a chance, but you gotta think too, this was at a transitional period, especially like, you know, what we were discussing with the action genre. Had people just given it a chance and been like, holy shit, Naked Gun-esque type comedy, I think they would have just really been happy with what they got. This shit is so fucking fun. And let me just say, Tyrion or Tywin Lannister in there,
Yeah.
he is such an incredible villain.
I didn't even notice him at first, and then like my roommate's like, "That's Tywin Lannister." I'm like, "Is it? It fucking is." Yeah, Tywin Lannister with the glass eye.
Like, I haven't watched any GOT, and the last thing I saw him in professionally was fucking Godzilla, King of the Monsters. He was just like randomly the bad guy in that one too. I was like, holy shit, that's Last Action Hero.
He's just there in Godzilla. What we paid you to do? What? Come here and be Last Action Hero.
Do I have a glass eye? No, just stand there menacingly.
And bruh, let me just say, his fucking glass eye display, the attention to detail that they kept giving that glass eye, and then the payoff with it at the end. There's so much meat to this movie.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cool.
It has every level. It's like you have like the surface stuff with like the dumbass puns, all the way down to the super meta stuff, which I mentioned earlier, with just Arnold and Arnold towards the end, and even like the retooling of the ending of one of Jack Slater's movies being the end of like the actual movie that we're watching.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a movie that we can really go step by step in, but just to give a broad summation, pretty much you've got a kid who, you know, raised by a single parent, sneaks out a lot, doesn't go to school a lot, ends up living a lot of his life at the movie theater. Yeah. He's got a friend who's like a projectionist, old dude, I don't know, lets him into the movies all the time.
What was his name?
Lives his life by the action movie. That's how he kills his time.
Yeah, Robert Prosky or something like that, maybe?
I remember him in something else, but like I recognize him. I don't know who he is.
This guy, his performance as the character Nick, and the relationship that he has developed with the comedy sidekick little kid, it feels so fucking genuine. It's almost like a displaced dad talking to their estranged son and just really trying to get to know him. It feels good. It's not like creepy how it would come off in some movies. It just feels heartwarming to see this old dude have this kid and just see himself in him and just try to help him succeed. And it's fucking cool.
We see that quite a bit in a moment. Like, he tries to sneak out of his house to go see like the new Jack Slater movie, like part 4. Holy shit, it's only been a year, but here's a new one. And like he gets broken into. Some jackass like, you know, puts a knife to his neck. He's like, give me all your good stuff. Your fucking place is shit. Whatever.
Yeah, you can tell breaking into the apartment that this apartment isn't gonna have anything. They got like roaches and shit. I don't know.
Like, he runs off. He wants to go see Jack Slater 4, but this time his buddy Nick has something super special for him, and it's not his dick. Turns out he has a.
This isn't one of those kind of movies.
No. He's super sweet, super genuine, and it turns out he's basically like the Willy Wonka of film projectionists.
Yes.
And he has a golden ticket. Yeah, and it's magical. Like, you know, you touch it and it like zippity zaps and vibrates and stuff or whatever.
It causes a trans-dimensional rift.
Yeah.
Just as a ticket, it doesn't do anything until you rip it. You rip it, and I don't know what happens. I don't know the physics behind it. Magic shit happens. I don't know. That's the silver screen.
Yeah, I mean, it gives the kid the opportunity to actually be in the movie. Instead of just like sitting there eating some jackass popcorn, he can actually be in the picture. And in the best way possible, he gets launched into Jack Slater 4.
Yeah, literally launched. TNT comes flying out. He gets blown into the film, and man, is this not like the fucking coolest intro? The kid is sitting there, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Kaboom, kaboom, and he looks up, and there's fucking Schwarzenegger letting go with this Desert Eagles. What are you doing to my car? And he's just like, I don't know. And it just escalates.
I don't know how I got here either, but I'm here, and that's where we are now.
Like, the back and forth when they first meet is exactly the same through the whole movie. It's just like, I don't know, I'm just a kid. Get down and don't move.
Yes.
And in true, I guess, schlocky style, as soon as this car chase starts, like, AC/DC's blasting.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. He even changes the tape.
Yeah, I fucking think that tape had a movie soundtrack written on it or something like that, or a Last Action Hero written on it, or something super fucking crazy. And like this guy, Arnold Jack Slater, he's doing shit like turning all the way around in his car with his deagle, blasting people. He's like, how you drive without any hands? Practice, and don't do it in heavy traffic. You know, it gives you everything you want at the surface level of bullshit. You know, it gives you the giggles, it gives you the explosions. There's even a fucking great bit where the Asian terrorist from Die Hard gets an ice cream cone in the back of the head, and and Arnold's just like, I iced him.
Not to cone a phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of like, I'm not gonna say forced Arnold like catchphrases, because they're not forced, but they're very like, here it is, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like almost like on a platter. It's just like,
yes. But each time it is delivered on that platter, you go, oh yes, please.
Yeah.
And you reach over and you take it, and you, that was like, delicious.
I mean, at this point, it's almost like the kid is playing the audience of an actual schlocky movie, and he's trying to pick apart as much as possible, and Arnold is just having fucking none of it, and that's what's great about it.
I'm not trying to pick on Chandler, but this kid is Chandler's view of action movies. If Chandler got thrown into an action movie, he's like, hey, look, this is going to happen because it's an action movie. He's like, no, it isn't. I could do whatever I want. And he goes, no, you're going to do this. And he's like, no, now I'm going to do it. And he's like, I told you you're going to do it because it's a fucking action movie. He's like, kill ninjas in my closet.
And of course, as they're having this argument, there's like subtle absurdity in the background, like a fucking minivan launched in the air and just explodes.
I applaud that scene.
One of my favorite scenes is he's like, look, I'll show you it's a movie. Give me 10 minutes. And they go to Blockbuster and it's like...
Yes.
Oh man, this joke, I don't want to ruin it, is so fucking good, my girlfriend laughed. That's a big fucking deal. Because she fucking hates these movies.
So he's trying to take him into the Blockbuster and show him like the action, the Arnold Schwarzenegger section, and there's this big Terminator 2 standee there, and it just pans up, and it's like Sylvester Stallone in Terminator 2.
It's almost otherworldly, but goddamn, is it fucking hilarious.
Go ahead.
Can you imagine how much one of those are worth? Like if they have any of those, they might just have one from that movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the kind of thing Arnold gifted Stallone for a birthday gift.
Yes.
He's like, happy birthday, you son of a bitch, you know?
Dude, I'm telling you, you just have to do it. You have to sell hard for your buddy. So as soon as there's that Stallone cutout and he walks into the theater, or the Blockbuster, he goes, oh my god, I love his movies! And he's just so fucking hyped for him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he goes up to like the Blockbuster girl who is... He said way too attractive to be working at a Blockbuster, but is like, hey, what's your phone number? And she's like, 555. What's the store's phone number? 555. Blah, blah, blah. See, everything's 555. The movies, all the phone numbers are 555.
And like, as the character, he tries to throw in some logic, which kind of works. He's like, that's why you have area codes, you know? And he's like,
yes.
I guess, you know.
But then he's like, that was very slick of you, how you got that girl's number for me.
He's total dude about it the whole time.
Yeah. Love it. And, you know, he's like, listen, my final shot to show you this is a movie is I'm going to take you to the bad guy's house. And my lord, did I lose my shit as a child? Did I lose my shit as an adult? Did my son lose his shit? And he rolls up to the fucking door and goes, knock, knock. And they're like, what can I help you? He's like, is the resident drug dealer home? Because, like, what?
there's like so many layers. Like fucking random task opens the goddamn door.
Throws the shoe. Honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely random task. And like in the very beginning, it's a very like direct and ham-fisted.
Just the turn.
In the beginning, it's like a very direct and ham-fisted like Die Hard reference. Like it is Die Hard. You've got like your Lethal Weapon like references like here and there, like not just like subtly either. They are thrown at you. Like if you have seen any of these weapons, any of these movies, not weapons, they're just like right there for you.
I mean, on that particular note, I mean, when they go to the police station for the first time,
Yes.
minus the cameos, which we'll talk about, there's even a fucking point where they're just like joining buddy cops together for the fun.
Buddy cops.
And this scene is straight up like Mel Brooks. Like if Mel Brooks was making this movie, that's a Mel Brooks scene.
Because the bit whenever he's like, "Hey, Johnson steps up and he's like the, muscular cop wearing the tight uniform, the fresh out of, the academy buzz cut. And he's like, "You're teamed up with the rabbi." And just some random rabbi is like, "Shalom." And they shake hands and walk off together. Like,
That's
what
great.
the fuck?
And there's even a bit where there's a fucking cartoon cat voiced by Danny DeVito, fucking trying to get handsy with the lady cop next to him. Oh,
Dude,
Christ.
This is a movie. There's a cartoon cat right there. You talking about Whiskers? Yeah, he's walking in the station right now, and he'll do it again tomorrow. He's one of the best cops on the force.
No, that cat is one of my best men.
Yeah, he's like, he was only suspended for a month. Of course he's back, just...
The cameos, though. I know we're getting away from, where we were in the movie, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
It's fucking solid. But these cameos and the homages to the film and the, the action genre in general are amazing. And they're there for the fan to pick out. And it should be appreciated. And this movie should have been cherished. And fuck you critics if you're like, it's trash. It's not. You just didn't appreciate the art.
Yeah. And the cameos by themselves are fucking phenomenal. Like, as they walk into the police station, you get two immediately. Now, it's not Sharon Stone, but you get a, what do you call it?
Sir, that is Sharon Stone.
Is it?
Sharon Stone is on the IMDb list. I didn't point her out,
shit.
the list.
They actually got her.
Sharon
That's
Stone,
crazy.
yeah.
But you get that, what the fuck's that movie's reference where she shows her fucking vagine?
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct, yeah, like, but not even like a moment later, fucking Robert Patrick, the T-1000 from Terminator 2, walks by, and not only does he get like the cameo, he gets like that metal sound as he walks by, like swing,
There's even another one that isn't the actor, but he's there, and I think he's there for fans, and if he's not really there for the fans, and if it's not a real cameo to be him, then I'm just projecting. But anyways, standing behind Arnold as he's at his desk doing the yeah phone call thing, there's a guy leaned over with long dark black hair. He is sitting at the desk. He has on a vest over a blue shirt wearing jeans, and it's fucking supposed to be Samurai Cop.
Really? I don't know. That might be a bit of a stretch.
I don't know.
Might be a bit of a stretch, but man, as soon as I saw it, I was like, why does that guy look exactly like Samurai Cop?
Is it like a pre or post wig?
Yeah, pre.
No. But that entire scene is just, it's like action movie headquarters, basically. You even have like, even the commissioner or whatever, his boss, like he's been in a ton of shit. Like he was even in Loaded Weapon 1 as the loud boss of the police station. I know him from Batteries Not Included, but he's been in a bunch of shit where he basically plays the same character.
Oh yeah.
So after he goes to the drug dealer's house, Tywin Lannister's house, where we have that scene where he's like, show him your eye, and he's like, he's got a bullseye for an eye. He says that to Arnold, and he takes off his glasses, and it's just like a smiley face or whatever.
Smiley face. Have a nice day.
It's still a glass eye, but he's like, no, it's not a bullseye. It's totally not him. That kind of thing.
The dog bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Just the ridiculousness of it.
They're very well trained.
Just the appearance of them, like they were not telegraphed. You don't see them locked up. They're just there. And he snaps his fingers, and they're just in a pyramid formation.
Yeah,
Cheerleader pyramid. He goes, I snap again, and there will be arterial red all over the place. And he's like, but it blows my mind, and I think they did it brilliantly. You have Schwarzenegger being Schwarzenegger. You have the kid being the critic. Like, no, look, And then you have Tywin Lannister being the quintessential top rung movie villain. He's fucking smart. He's cold. He's calculating.
Evidently, that role was originally offered to Alan Rickman, at least according to my roommate.
Okay, I was gonna say, if this movie was not a spoof and it was just straight up if this was Jack Slater 4, his character as a bad guy is fucking phenomenal.
Mhm.
Yes.
Just like his sinister look on stuff, like even later on when he's in the real world and he finds out like
Oh
killing
my
people
god.
really isn't a bad thing, I guess. And we'll get to that, but just like his just overall being is just so sly and fun to watch.
My like biggest moment, again, growing up as a kid and as an adult, like you catch some more stuff. When he makes it to the real world, he kills a man because he sees two men kill another man for his shoes. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, sir, I need you to help me test something. He's like, what's that? And he goes, well, boom, and shoots him. And then you see some people in the background scurrying around, some people quicken their pace. One guy goes back inside the hotel he was smoking a cigarette in front of, and he's like, I just shot a man. And the guy's like, shut the fuck up! Because he's like, just being loud.
But it was just like in the background, so you know he's like 6 floors up, just like, shut the hell up!
Yeah. And then the dude that went inside the hotel, you see the security guard come to the door and just lock the door. That's all he does. And I went, this is fucking brilliant.
Yep, this is the real world.
Absolutely. And there's even like a bit of satire on the real world, how like the bad guys can win because it's totally true.
It's just, it's layer upon layer, but there's more with the house, and we get so many amazing, and you know, they're cliched, they're tropes, but when you get to see them in this light, they're so fun. They feel new. It's like a breath of fresh ass blown in breast of fresh air.
Speaking of breath of fresh ass, you want to go to Jack Slater's ex-wife's house, get some Sonya Blade, the hot teenage daughter who is somehow like a lethal weapon.
There's so many layers to this too, like an onion. Like you walk in, you're like, oh my god, it's Veronica Vaughn, and then like
Veronica, thank you for beating the shit out of me.
Yeah. And then like the kid's like, who's this lady? She's not in the credits. It's like, oh my god, it's her first motion picture. I was like, wait, how fucking meta can this movie be? So I go on my phone, I'm like, flick, IMDb. Holy shit, it was her first fucking Hollywood picture. It's the first thing in her filmography. I'm like, that's a nugget of goodness. I'm just gonna choke that down.
Yeah, you just gotta love it.
But to me, that is and will always be Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat. And kicking ass is what she's supposed to do.
I mean, she has like her bit where she actually kicks some ass. Like the kid and like Veronica Vaughn, they're just like chilling or whatever. Then bad guy shows up with a bunch of goons and they like carry her away to her room with some guns to hold her hostage. And she's like, I'm just such a pretty girl, I can't do anything. Backflip, a guy just goes through the fucking wall.
Yeah, she's like screaming to give the impression that he's like having his way with her, but in reality she's just like knocking him through a wall.
Yeah, all the thumping and banging is her whooping his ass. But right before that, there is a fucking I loved it scene with the bad guy and the kid and Veronica. He's like, okay, take her in there and get her to shut up. And the little kid's like, hey, you better not harm a hair on her head. And he's like, stop, bring her here. And then he goes, and they add the little effects, the little pluk noise, and then you see him wrap it around his fingers, tink, and he breaks it, and he just looks at him and goes, what, bitch? And the kid can't do shit. He's like, that's what I thought.
So basically, the whole time is just one of these, just a big middle finger to the kid.
So fucking heelish. Like, it's so good for his character. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's kind of like if he was Hans Gruber minus the accent, plus just some fucking assholishness.
So in that scene, we've got, he's like, what do you want? This kind of thing. There's money in the chest there. Just take it. And dude's like, there must be like $2,000 here.
I totally thought the guys would be like, hey, there's like $2,000 and a picture of a dead kid in here. For some reason, Benedict, he's like, there's something funny about this damn money. And he like makes the guy chuck it into the fire. just because it's from Wild Wild West. There's something funny
Turned
about
into,
that damn rope.
he just turned into fucking whatchamacallit.
The dude from Wild Wild West with no
He
legs.
No, he just reminds me of that, like when they were about to hang Will Smith. It's like there's something funny about that damn rope.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, hey, bad guy, like chuck the money into the fireplace, and it reminds me of the bad money from like Rush Hour 2 or whatever. Like turns red, and of course Arnold just like, and like he just notices like this funny smoke coming from the house, so he knows there's trouble.
Yeah.
Yes, a new pope is being selected.
He literally drops in. But did you guys notice that they had that henchman like can't catch, and they made him try to catch things 3 times, and he drops shit every time. So he tries to throw him the money, he drops the money. Tries to throw him the picture thing, and he drops the fucking picture thing, and whenever he's about to get killed, the guy's like, take the gun, and he tries to catch the gun, and he fucking drops it, then Arnie gets it and blows him away. And it's just like, Jesus.
The whole thing is just like a big fucking mess in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Because like he even somehow has like some kid that's like, hey, just go to the door and knock, it's okay, I've got it. And they open the door and fucking it's like Napoleon Dynamite, just like and they're just like, wow, that's fucking weird. And he, like Brady says, drops in, he's like, get that.
He grabs an Uzi from one man and grabs the Uzi from another, crosses him across his chest and goes, hello, and just fucking lights him up.
If it were any other movie, it'd be a fucking disaster, but everything here is just a good laugh.
Yes, the action, if this were meant to be taken serious, you couldn't. You'd go, this is stupid. But in this satirical way, it is fucking perfection.
And in the gunfire, like, Benedict gets away, everybody just kind of has like a moment, just kind of like congeal, and then Arnold just fucking parkours his way down the fucking hill.
Dude.
Yeah, obviously everybody dies except for the main bad guy and the main good guy.
Yeah, and so the kid is like, I'm going to play chicken with you on this bike because I'm a hero in this movie. And then he has a moment of realization about 3/4 of the way into the chicken match. He goes, holy shit, I'm the comedy sidekick. And he swerves off into an E.T. reference, and it's cute.
I like how he legitimately rode into another movie reference. Just like, oh no.
And I think he had the realization once he was just getting off the air, shit, this is an E.T. reference.
Yeah.
This isn't even an action movie.
And Arnold, who at this point was at the top of the hill, just trying to fucking bludgeon the car getting away with his deagle, which just happened to be right next to the kid, picks him and the bike up, throws him over the shoulders, is like, all right, let's go. And they walk into the biggest moonset I've ever fucking seen.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's like a third of the frame. It's just like...
It's like DreamWorks.
Yeah. Having seen sunsets in California, it's not like that.
Are the sunsets in California creamier?
Well, I don't know about creamier, but speaking of Cali Creamin,
I love that pop.
You like that pop?
Every time.
Now we just can't stop.
What I've got here today is from Mother Earth Brew Company out of Vista, California. This is Cali Creamin. They call it a vanilla cream ale. It is a creamsicle ale, I guess. It doesn't say orange anywhere on the can. It just says vanilla cream ale. But I can already tell you from the smell. The smell.
All right, country boy.
Something funny about that damn rope.
But there is a whole lot of orange flavor in here. This is like... Whew.
That's a nice little glass you got there, Chan man.
Oh yeah, it's fancy. That's like one of those like professional little tasting glasses.
Thank you. It's my roommate.
I have borrowed it just for this occasion.
Yeah.
It's 5.0% ABV, and it is, man, like it smells like an orange creamsicle, but it tastes like an orange creamsicle.
Nice.
I feel like it's one of those things where the term orangicle is like trademarked for no fucking reason.
Orangicle?
Orangicle, like fudgicle.
I've had orange creamsicle. I've had orange creamsicle drinks. The question here is that something that you could honestly drink a fair amount of? Or do you think it would be one of those ones where after like one or two, you'd be like, I think I'm getting sick?
It's not so sweet that I couldn't drink several of them, and that's kind of what I like about it. Like normally things like I've had beers that are called orange creamsicle ales or whatever that are just so sweet that you just can't. but this is really well balanced. It's definitely artificially flavored, so I don't feel great about it, but it tastes so damn good and is just like so drinkable that I can't help but like be happy with it.
That actually answered my next question because, like, I know you're like a bitter and like a sour kind of guy. I was wondering whether or not it was just too much.
It's not, it's a cream ale for sure. Starts out base cream ale with like that lactose, just a touch of lactose sweetness. And I'm going to guess it's like some kind of an artificial orange flavoring, but it's not so much of the lactose and so much of the orange flavoring that it's too much at all. Like, this is a really drinkable beer. I could drink like 6 of these right now.
I mean, all that sounds like a good time, but you know what else does? The fact this entire plot is basically just a fart joke.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, so there's like these two, like a Italian mobster gangster whatever in LA, and they decide to kind of merge, all while they're attending this funeral on top of a skyscraper for whatever reason, California, whatever.
Still don't know why it's up there.
Yeah, it's
With a
just,
helicopter circling.
yeah, the helicopter adds nothing.
And a crane.
It'll add something here in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And it's great because this old guy that passed away, whom they're having the funeral for, is known to be just the flatulent type. You know, he just wants to have one last gas. But that has like a double, triple entendre. Not only is it a fart joke, and everybody gets it in the movie, but his body was stolen and filled with poisonous gas and is rigged to explode to kill everyone at the funeral.
And Eric, how does the bad guy in this movie activate the noxious gas?
Well, of course, just like any bad guy mobster with a flatulence problem, you gotta pull his finger.
It's the trigger on Louis the Fart.
I swear this movie is better than that last 3 minutes makes it sound.
Yeah, I know, like, if for verbatim, like, hey man, there's a part where, like, a fucking old mafia guy, he farts a lot and he has the last gas, you know? I'm sorry.
Quickly, we must save the people. What do you mean? Louis Lafart's going to pass gas one last time.
That's almost like verbatim how he told his buddy that was like tending the whole thing or whatever. It's like, we got to go. He's going to fart.
Yeah, his buddy who betrays him. And
from Amadeus.
Yes, he's like, he killed Mozart. He's like, I knew it. I knew not to trust you. He said you killed Mozart. Who? Zod. I don't know who that is. I kill a lot of people. I can't keep track of them all.
That part right there, like, I'm pretty sure I had to stop the movie because I was laughing so much at that line. Mo who? Zod.
Yeah, just
I just realized he said it like if it were like a two-thing name, like a beginning.
Yes.
fucking the way the kid keeps telling Arnold that his name in the movie he's Jack Slater, so he keeps telling him, he's like, your name's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he keeps butchering his own name.
Yeah, the
On
sausage.
purpose. Yeah, he's like, come on, we gotta do this. He's like, yeah, come on, you know it's a movie, I'm going to win. I'm the famous comedian, Howard Braunschweiger. And he's like, no, that's not the name. He's like, whatever.
That's not it. You're close. You're getting better. But that's
He's like-
not it.
I wish the kid was like, close but no cigar. Just at the stogie.
So now he's got Arnold at the disadvantage. He's going to shoot him. The kid shows up. Maha! Just like the typical bad guy, you talk too much. And that's why you're in trouble, because you talk too much. And then, click, there's Benedict. He's like, bitch, you guilty of it too. And he's like, you right. Handcuff me to the pole like the mugger did.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what happens right there.
And then in like, I don't even say schlocky style, but just like run-of-the-mill bad guy thing, the main mafia bad guy is like, haha, you guys are stupid, I have a fedora, I'm out of here, hey ya! And then of course,
Yes.
also in schlocky style, the animated cat voiced by Danny DeVito saves the fucking day.
Yeah, it's there 2 seconds after the two main villains walk away. It's like, we're out of here. 1,000, 1,000, pew pew. Good thing I could save you. I'm Whiskers the cat. And it's like, but you let the two bad guys go.
He's hit something like, I owe you one. He's like, nah, you don't owe me nothing. You saved my whiskers way back in the day. Or he had like a really cool pun. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I think might have been overlooked, and I'm just really thinking about this. Okay, he pulled his finger, and the clock on his watch, said 10 minutes. So
Correct.
So in 10 minutes, fucking the next half hour of movie takes place.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of shit that happens at the same time, so I guess I'm not gonna rationale that. Fuck it, I don't care.
It's almost as deliberate, or not even really deliberate. It's almost as obvious as the grenade scene in Die Hard 2. Whenever the guy's
the plane,
fucking 6 grenades at John McClane, and he's sitting there looking at them. These things have a 3 to 5 second fuse, and he has time for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grenades to pile in, pick himself up off the ground slowly, walk to the cockpit, strap himself into a chair, and eject before they blow up. And it takes like fucking 40 seconds of movie for these things that blow up in 3 seconds to blow up.
Don't worry about it. It looks good for the trailer.
Yeah, but they make it to the roof, and hilarity ensues. That's all you can fucking say. It's over the top and it's fun.
It's over the top to like the grandma degree, because even she's fucking loaded. She pulls out a fucking P90 and just starts blowing away shit.
Everyone's got a gun like the subway of Predator 2. If you've never seen Predator 2, there's a scene where this guy's like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna mug you, and the guy's like, no you're not, and he's like, well mine's bigger, and he pulls out another gun on the dude he's mugging, and then you hear clicks, and literally everyone on the subway train has a gun. Everyone. And then the Predator proceeds to kill them all because they're armed.
Man, I really miss Danny Glover.
But yeah, so Arnold's trying to get this gas bomb out of here, which just happens to be a human corpse at his funeral. And, he throws him over the shoulder, and he's like, this man's still alive!
Yes!
No, he doesn't. This is what he does. He's like, he fucking fronts his way to the front of the morning line. He's like, excuse me. Oh, I love this guy. Don't worry about it.
He was a very fraudulent man.
Yeah, and he like ducks down to the dude in the coffee. He's like, oh no, I'm still alive!
Yes!
Yeah, and then he's like, oh my god, he's still alive. And it was like, oh! And he picks the dude up over his shoulders like a fucking fireman and proceeds to fucking charge his way through the crowd several times.
It's a doctor! And then the guy comes out and goes, I'm a doctor. He goes, he check his pulse, and then he fucking smashes him in the face with his elbow and knocks him unconscious. He's like, oh my god, the doctor has fainted. And then he stopped running with him.
It's the moment like every action hero has, but he just bulldozes through it. It's basically like, oh man, how do I get out of this jam?
Yeah. No one noticed, it's okay. And then everyone's like, no, something's funky. And they chase him back and forth, going to shoot him. And they're like, don't shoot, you hit Louis' body. And he goes, don't shoot! And he throws his arms up, which tosses Louis the Fart off of the fucking building. Just luckily as this crane is going by and he hooks onto it, everyone's going to shoot Arnold. I don't want to ruin too much of it.
The kid is controlling the crane at this point.
I mean, the kid got into the crane in the best way possible, but he did ask him, like, how am I supposed to go over there and convince this gentleman to operate this crane to save the day? And he just gives him a fucking gun. And so the kid runs over there with a gun brandished, waving it around, and the guy's like, yeah, and
I'm
the
a kid with a gun!
And the guy obviously just like, no. He just leaves.
And proceed to enter some more homages to action hero, films, like the elevator scene where it gets shot out, kind of like in Terminator. But there's a scene right there whenever it explodes and it's falling apart. He's holding on to a piece of the railing, and it snaps, and he starts to fall. And the movie gives him time to turn his face,
look at it,
look back at the camera, make the oh shit face as he's falling.
I thought that was like a Die Hard like jab, like when Hans Gruber, like when the watch gives or whatever, he's just like.
Well, I meant the chopper bit shooting is like in Terminator whenever the chopper's shooting.
No, I get that. I meant like when he actually fell, like that.
Yes, that's.
Oh yeah, when he fell, that was straight up Die Hard.
Yeah, and
that's Hans.
And I'd like to point out, like, that helicopter scene was way more brutal than it had to be. By the way,
dude, yes, wiped out 50 fucking people.
Like Arnold jumps down to the elevator, yada yada yada. It opens up, and there's a bunch of mobsters there ready to blow this guy away.
Including the grandma.
At the same time, the helicopter with just 2 random miniguns bolted to it starts blowing them away, and the action is so hard that it blows through the back of the building.
Which rains glass down on innocent citizens trying to walk,
Yeah.
which it shows.
And it's just insane, and it's wildly entertaining, and this whole thing winds up with Louis the Fart and Arnold dropping into a La Brea
Tar pit, yeah.
Well, first you still got this helicopter that is firing aimlessly at Arnold, at Jack Slater, whoever he is here, and kid with the crane just gives that helicopter a little tappy tap, just a little tappy taparoo on the tail, and then that helicopter just fucking Kobe's down to the ground.
It's like fourth Kobe joke in like 3 weeks.
No, we've had 3 movies in a row with a helicopter crash.
I mean,
Truth.
if you don't know that if a helicopter exists in a movie, it will explode.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Fact.
And to get out of this situation, Arnold has to jump out of the window, and he just happens to grab onto, what's his name? Jimmy the Flatulent?
Louis Lafart.
Louis Lafart. He hangs onto his body, which still hasn't exploded into gas or whatever it's supposed to do. It's still like within the 7 minutes, 10-minute window.
Yeah.
It's by the time he's on the hook, he has 30 seconds, but
Yeah.
like the preceding scene is far longer than that.
Dude, I was rolling at him trying to shake this corpse off the hook. The look on Arnold's face of pure terror. He is selling so hard. He's like, oh no! Just shaking violently.
He even has like a small bit in that bit where he like tries to climb up the corpse and grabs the dude's dick. He's like, oh no!
Can't grab his pecker.
Yeah.
That's 100% the Naked Gun. You know, Frank, that was assault with a concrete dildo. Just like what?
Christ.
So he does eventually jostle the corpse off of this crane, and they fall together into the La Brea tar pits. And once he gets out, you see rising up from the tar like this gas bubble, and it just rises up and stretches the tar.
And it's about to cusp and pop, and then it just resides back
Yeah.
down.
Just trapped for probably another 50 million years.
Yeah. Shit blew my mind when he gets out and he cleans himself up. Can we talk about that?
Only after the fact he said, "Don't worry, it's silent but deadly."
Oh, God. This man is head to toe covered in tar. Takes one Wendy's napkin and dabs himself completely clean.
It's entirely accurate. He takes the first napkin, wipes his face clean. His daughter shows up in the monster truck, and he has the second napkin, and his entire upper half is just absolutely spotless.
Hey, I brought you new clothes. Well, don't you think this is just a little too convenient here, the kid says, and is like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, he goes, you're the one that said this is an action movie.
Yeah.
Just Arnold taking a piss on his own movie, just like, whatever.
So at some point during all of this fracas, the bad guy gets Danny's wallet, which contains the magic ticket. And of course, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? He's going to go back to the real world dimension, New York City.
But not before telling his boss goodbye. Wink.
After watching Natural Born Killers, I just want every sleazy bad guy to be Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh,
And that's like what his posture was showing, just like, hey, it's like, just fucking, I don't know.
Hey, you better wash that ass while you're in New York.
I'm gonna slip that spaghetti.
We're all just fucking just like, hey.
Fingers just did. Hey.
But the guy's just like, oh, how did it go? And he's like, exactly as planned. You should have been there. And he's like, oh, fantastic. Finally, I can do what I want and take over the city. And he's just like, nah.
No.
And then you did a total 360 on me. He goes, a 180, you moron. He goes, the 360 means I would have come back around and been where I started. And he's like, what? And he goes, just trust me. Boom. Fucking shoots him. Skagili man, done.
He ended that nonsensical conversation at the perfect time, you know?
Yes.
But then he wanders off, he sits down, he has a drink, he tells random tasks to clean up his mess. And as soon as he leaves the frame, fucking... like everybody, the whole gang in the monster truck just bursts through the wall and lands perfectly just like inches away from Benedict, whom didn't even flinch.
Yeah. And he gets up, he's like, I'm fucking strong as shit. I throw you through the wall. And he goes, normally when I throw someone through a wall, there's a hole. Because whenever he's doing, he just goes through the portal.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets interesting. Like the satire kind of falls away a little bit, and a real movie kind of emerges just for a little bit to try to like pull us in. And I think it's a really cool tone switch.
It's not really a tone switch in my mind. I think at this moment you realize how smart this movie is, how cleanly written it is, given its material, and just how meta that it tries to be without just being, or full of itself rather.
Yeah, honestly, I was ready at this point for it to pretty much just wrap itself up. Like, you know, let Danny get back to the real world, let Arnold or Jack Slater get back to his movie, let everything just kind of unfold in perfect time. But at this point is really my only qualm with this movie. This last section stretches out a little bit too long for me. This is 2 hours and 10 minutes is the runtime on this movie.
Yeah, and the last half hour is the real world. Yeah. At this point, I was having such a good time. I was afraid that this was the moment the movie was going to fall apart. I hadn't seen this movie probably in 15 years or whatever. I was just like, man, this is going to get like quote unquote real, and it's just not going to be fun anymore. But I guess since I've grown up and I can just notice all these details. So you have these character arcs that happen fairly quickly, juxtaposed to the rest of the movie. You have Benedict turning into an actual bad guy, real world piece of shit, and you also have Arnold finally realizing that he's a fictional character.
Yeah, they run into like the premiere of Jack Slater 4, I guess is what it is. And Arnold gets to he sees his own self. Like Jack Slater sees Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is that Bonschwager?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get more cameos with the likes of like Jean-Claude Van Damme, MC Hammer.
So many cameos right here.
Yeah. But let's not gloss over the fact that he murdered Random Task in that alleyway.
Yes, by playing chicken. And there's some because the kid's like, look, this is the real world. Shit don't work that way, because he tries to bust a window with his hand. He's like, that hurt. He has a conversation with Danny's mom that stretches on for hours. He's like, oh my God, did you know you could just talk to women?
They're not objects after all.
Yeah. And I think it's so smart. It's so well written, like you were saying. And the big premiere, the big showdown, Benedict has unleashed the Ripper, the other villain who killed Jack Slater's son in the previous Jack Slater film.
That whole bit is fucking phenomenal, by the way. Just to reiterate, Benedict goes into Jack Slater 3, releases the guy who killed his son in that movie. So that is the bad guy character, and he shows up to the premiere, and everyone at that premiere thinks he's the actor playing that character on the red carpet.
And it's super fucking cool. And they're like, oh, Ripper, what are you doing here? And he goes, well, I think I'm going to kill some people.
And they're just like, oh, dude, yeah.
I don't really know what else I can do. What are my options here? All I've ever known is kill.
Yeah. And, we get another rooftop showdown to where, again, Jack is human. And he ends up thwarting the Ripper, who he believes has just killed Danny in the same way that he did his son. And you get a very human moment with Jack Slater, and this is really cool because it really humanizes the character, brings him down to earth. He saves Danny, but he's doubting himself, like, will he have the ability to do it now that he isn't this fictional character? And he throws him up on the roof with his massive strength, because he's still fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he throws him up on the roof, and he's like, I think I threw out my shoulder, which sets up the next thing, now he's already at a disadvantage, and Benedict's there with a big fucking gun.
Mm-hmm. And they have this really cool moment of logic to where they think that Benedict still thinks he's under fictional rules, so he's been blasting his way with his revolver. He's like, you ran out of bullets, you forgot to reload. He's like, no, I just left an empty chamber. And just nails him.
Thurston Howell the third?
I'm fucking going in and out with accents, whatever. Let's not get bogged down.
Don't make me pull out Michael Caine in this bitch.
Michael Caine. Oh, fucking got it. All right.
But yeah, he fucking blasts him in the chest, and Schwarzenegger Slater just goes down. He's like, and Danny actually saves the day by
Yeah, he does.
doing
Yeah,
this flying crossbody.
At this point, I'm thinking like you got to get him back to the movie, and they don't really come to that conclusion for another like 10 minutes.
It's okay. We'll get to like the muddled bit, but once Slater goes down, he's shot. Danny runs up to Benedict, and he just gets fucking pistol whipped, and he starts going, "You fucking killed me, broke my arm or my nose or something." Like, he turns into like a real kid. Like, you know, if you pistol whip him, he's gonna fucking cry about it. And Benedict's just like, whatever. Turns away. He grabs Slater's gun, throws it back to him, and shoots the dude in the eye, and he explodes. Right, but the genius of that scene, I think, is the fact that both of those characters in this movie are fictional in the real world, but in order for that scene to happen, Danny had to act.
Correct.
You know?
It's brilliant. It's absolutely fucking... And that's what I'm saying. It's like an onion. This movie is so many layers. And
I never really thought about that. And you kind of have me fucked up a little bit on that one.
Yeah, because like in the same scene, you have Arnold playing a character who is a caricature of Arnold in the real world, where the real Arnold exists, opposite a man who does not exist, who is playing a caricature of bad guys also in the real world, and he has to act.
Where a child then acts how he should to throw off the main bag. It's fucking cool. It's smart. But yeah, he ends up getting Jack back into the movie, luckily, because once back in the movie, it's just a flesh wound. They actually start teasing him about this sucking hole in his chest. So I guess it's just a flesh wound. Stop being a bitch. He's like, oh, thank God. Oh, God.
Yeah. And at the same time, like, once Benedict's exploded, he was in possession of Danny's ticket, and he lets it fall to the ground. And it happens to fall in front of another movie that Gandalf is in. And he's playing Magento for all those trademark reasons. And and like he just, as Death, walks out of the theater for the sole purpose to follow the ambulance that Danny and Jack Slater stole to get back to the original theater, just to tell them, "Oi, use the other ticket."
Well, he wanted to know because he was curious, because he was Death and there was a dying man, and he had no clue who the fuck that man was because he doesn't exist.
Yeah, he said he's not on his list, but you are, Danny.
You die a grandfather.
Yeah.
This is kind of like,
that's fucking
honestly my biggest... Now, I love Ian McKellen. He is a great actor. I don't know why he's in this film at all.
Like, all I'm hearing is like, he elevates the picture? What's that?
Sure, highbrow.
Yeah.
I guess this is a reference to the Seventh Seal, which I have not seen, but evidently it's a great movie. But yeah, they could eliminate the entire Ian McKellen section of this movie, take honestly 8 minutes out, and it would be just the same movie.
But you got to remember, this is also a love letter to film.
In my opinion, that is the weakest part, because I don't think it should have taken Ian McKellen to remind the kid there's another half a ticket just 10 feet away.
Yeah, exactly.
And it surprised him to the point where he just drop kicked the ticket box or whatever. And
it's so good. It's like someone just hucked a dummy across the screen at it, because the body's flying fucking sideways and just smashes through it, and he's like, tickets.
Oh, you slow the film down. That is actually Gary Coleman flying through the air via cannon fire.
He was paid $45 and 3 Charleston chews for this scene.
So specific.
One of which he had asked to be placed in the freezer beforehand.
Oh, that's how you break your teeth.
Yeah, buddy.
But that's how we get Jack Slater back into the fictional world, saving the day. Yes, that works.
Yes, it's him, and we get to see the black and white rendition of Humphrey Bogart teaming up with somebody in the background.
I guess so, but
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the movie's wacky, it's a satire, but that moment between Danny and Jack Slater, he's like, time to go, the cat's here. it's not as good, but it's in the same vein as the thumb from Terminator 2 as he's going into that molten steel or whatever.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
at
this
this point, I'm just wanting everything to be wrapped up, and like they're
Yeah.
wrapping, but like I want it to be like wrapped.
Yeah, it's like kids get on with it, Monty Python. You know.
Yeah. It definitely could have ended cleaner, for sure. But I can't. I have fucking no. I would watch this movie again and put up
Yeah,
with it because
For sure.
it's
And-
fucking.
And when the credits rolled, I had the biggest surprise. It was directed by John McTiernan.
Yeah.
What
John-
the fuck?
Tyranny.
The guy who did Die Hard, the guy who did Predator, the guy who did Die Hard 3, A Long Kiss Goodnight, the action master who put action back on the map, fucking spoofed himself? Ah!
Who better to do it? Who better to do it?
Pretty much. Honestly, I really enjoyed that movie. If you don't think you're gonna enjoy it, if you're not a big action movie guy, fucking watch it. It's a really fun watch. It is a little bit long, 2 hours 10 minutes, and honestly could have probably been like an hour 40, but it flies by. Just go watch it. It's way better than I expected it to be, and it doesn't deserve nearly the ratings that it gets on like IMDb and Metacritic.
No, not at all. This movie's aged generously. It's fantastic. It's the action schlock that you want, but you know this movie is taking a piss on it and also itself. It's just a really good time. And the best part about it is the fact that you realize that Arnold Braunschweiger is a fantastic actor. He's not just like a dildo action bullshitter.
There's so much for so many people in this film. Like, you could even, like, I watched it with my son and he fucking loved it. I've watched tons of Schwarzenegger movies with him. He loves Schwarzenegger. But I can tell you right now, this is the one that he's already latched onto. He was like, hey, can I watch it again? Or do we have that on DVD? Because I can tell he wants to take pieces of it and recycle them back to me at some point.
He's gonna do the let me give you a few acres.
If I could not mention that.
Yeah, there's a ton of fucking jokes that we didn't cover, and I'm glad, because you got to leave some fruit for the people there to pick off the tree themselves. But
Yeah,
this film is so. If there's a negative to it, if there is a negative, there's some shit that definitely could have been trimmed down. Again, the Ian McKellen thing, unnecessary. There's a few bits here and there, like even the mom bit, that could have been a lot smaller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just the whole, I can talk to women, I didn't know that was an option. Like, just that joke. We didn't need the whole big setup. But other than the runtime, I think this movie is a fucking gem.
And there you have it. Last Action Hero from 1993, directed by John McTiernan. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the podcast itself, please leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to hit that little bell icon too, so you know next time we've got another one of these brewing.
Get out there and follow us on all of our social media accounts. We got the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, a Reddit, a wonderful administrator constantly lafarting out new content for you guys. If you don't get there and check it out, then, I mean, we'll never grow and get big and strong.
If you don't check it out, it's a bad idea.
We'll be back.